Today, I am going to be talking about 3 behaviors that accidentally might be pushing people away. So, welcome back to Lessons in Attachment. Sometimes we will have automatic behaviors that we've learned over time that get activated, get triggered, perhaps when you're feeling insecure, when you have a fear that you're going to be left. There's some kind of threat to your relationship. And in those moments, we have protest behaviors, we have responses that can feel out of your control. They're not. If you've been following my podcast, this channel for long enough, you'll know that we can definitely move from insecure to secure. And, that's what I'm supporting people to do inside my containers across these channels. So I definitely believe that. But we also have to have some honesty and kind of face reality a bit. And some of these behaviors are very unhelpful and will push people away. So if you see yourself falling into these behaviors, try not to judge yourself. Instead, just use that as the motivation that you've kind of had enough of that and that you want change. So the first behavior is sulking, withdrawing, and kind of taking your love away. So usually here, there's some kind of fear of expressing yourself or saying what's on your mind. Perhaps that hasn't been something that you have been taught or that you know how to do. So in that moment, you will withdraw yourself. And sometimes I really feel for you because I know that sometimes you can see yourself doing it and you actually do want to lean back into love and you do want to be okay with your partner or the person that you're dating. It's not that you want to act like this, but it can feel quite powerless in those moments. The second thing that you might find yourself doing is perhaps creating some kind of drama when you don't feel like you're a priority. So perhaps you're feeling quite jealous, quite activated that they're spending time with someone else or doing other things with their time. And that has, kind of activated those abandonment wounds, made you feel like you're going to be left or you're not being chosen. And when that happens, we can go into protective mode. And so that might be through questioning. It might be through asking them repeatedly to see you. It might be contacting them nonstop, in some way trying to overcome this fear that you're not important to them. And other things that I see happening here is perhaps threatening that the relationship is over, saying that this isn't for you, it's not worth it. When, of course, when you come back down to earth and you're feeling yourself and you're regulated again, you might not feel that way. It's just in those moments when you're feeling like, I'm not important to this person. Of course, it is a different story if you are dating someone or you're with someone where they're really not showing you interest, they're absolutely never giving you their time. I'm really thinking about relationships here where it's quite healthy, it's quite secure, but for you, you're struggling to kind of um, let them live their lives a bit. The third behavior I'm going to say, and actually you can link these to the other two, but I just really want to put it out there. And this will be for those of you that are probably a bit further along in your relationships. And this will be like, I feel a bit harsh saying this, but ruining days out or ruining date nights, things like that, because you get stuck in a certain mood or you get stuck with a certain idea in your head. And very similar to the sulking, you probably can see it happening, or you just fully have gone with what you believe just happened. And so you could have been having a really nice conversation. Especially with anxious attachment, things like tone of voice and facial expression can be really activating. So if you think that you notice something or perceive something, that can trigger that state, trigger the anxious attachment. And then in those moments, it winds up that you end up arguing about something, end up questioning around something. And unfortunately, what could have been quite a nice day or evening gets hijacked. If you see yourself in these states, then you might well be wondering, Like, what do I actually do about this? It's all good explaining it. I see myself falling into these. And as we know, a lot of the time when we're healing abandonment wounds and attachment, a lot of the time, insight into our difficulties isn't enough. Like, it's absolutely so important that we do see that this is happening and admit it. But there really is that question of like, well, what do I actually do about it? So, one of the things that's really key here, you might have noticed if you listen to some of the words that I'm saying and plenty of the things that I record and share with you, but it's a lot about being able to adjust and move between different states, move between feeling calm, a little bit triggered, and then moving back, being able to self reflect on the situation, taking the other person's perspective, the reality of the situation, and then move yourself back to a soothed state. And that can be really, really hard if you get stuck in anxiety, big emotion, basically. So, a lot of titration will happen in attachment healing, which is what I'll be doing with my one-to-one clients, or inside the attachment recovery gym. It's no accident that when we do the diary each day or the somatic classes, I will move people between these different states, because that is so useful when it comes to real time, to not get stuck in anxiety and to be able to recognize when your body state shifts, to be able to recognize the sensations and what goes, how the thoughts change, and move yourself back to a calmer state, because from there we can make better decisions. Like I say, if you do see yourself in these behaviors, you are so much more than your attachment style. And you can check out the bio for access to the attachment recovery gym and working with me, as well as just exploring all the other videos and episodes that I have.